Howdy there everybody, this is Chunky Chicano, but all of you can call me Chunky. At the time this video is being posted, it was recently Hispanic Heritage Month. As long as I didn't procrastinate in making this video, if it has been more than a month since Hispanic Heritage Month, please don't bully me, I'm sensitive. And one thing that I've noticed is that Hispanic Heritage Month doesn't get recognized as much as I think it could. For example, if you compare Hispanic Heritage Month to Black History Month, you'll see a discrepancy. Around February, you regularly see specials on TV, businesses promoting the event, and regular discussions about prominent figures in Black history and culture. Don't get me wrong, I love that there are so many great role models that have given representation to Black people in our society. Black people are getting more representation and are gaining a growing list of people they can look up to that also remind them more of themselves. However, Hispanic and Latino people don't have a ton of people in our history to look up to. I mean, think about it. Here's an experiment. Think of 3 people that are Hispanic or Latino that are not involved with the entertainment industry. Go ahead. 3 Latino people that aren't musicians, actors, comedians, or athletes in sports. Can you do it? Can you actually name them? Or do you know them by some qualifier such as,
"Oh yeah, that one guy that did that thing."
If you can't do it, please don't feel bad. It's not your fault. I didn't really know many answers to that question until just a few years ago. Our ignorance isn't a sign of our failure to learn, but, instead, a failure of the education and culture around us. Yeah, some companies are working on changing this with documentaries and movies, but a lot of acknowledgments of Hispanic Heritage Month, even today, tend to be something along the lines of,
"Did you know that, in many Latino countries, soccer is a very common pastime? Except, in these countries, they don't call it soccer like we do in America. They call it football."
And then your local ding-dong taco restaurant tries to sell you more tacos. I thought this was infuriating when I was younger, and my feelings about it have only gotten worse. I want to change this, so I'm going to be releasing videos like this just telling you all about Hispanic and Latino people from history, and people that are active today, so, that way, people can see that there are tons of Latino people that have been out there to look up to. Hopefully, we'll all learn something along the way and you guys don't end up getting bored of anything.
I know how you people can get when you're bored. I don't want to use any Temple Run, Minecraft, or Family Guy videos to keep your attention, so listen up.
For our first video on Hispanic and Latino culture, we will be talking about
Cesar Chavez.
Let's go! Cesar Chavez, born on March 31st, 1927, near Yuma, Arizona, Cesar Chavez's life of activism and advocacy began against the backdrop of the Great Depression. Cesar's family migrated west towards California, along with the waves of more than 300,000 people, hoping to join the migrant farming workforce. Cesar's early life was marked by hardship and sacrifice. He dropped out of school as early as the 8th grade in order to work in the fields full-time to help support his family. Keep in mind that this isn't even the most extreme example of migrants dropping out of school at ridiculously young ages just so they could start working. Seriously, imagine if McDonald's had such little regard for their employees that they were willing to hire 8-year-olds to work at their restaurants just to save a few bucks. We would never stand for that. At least partially because 8-year-olds are shit at cooking burgers. Seriously, Kyle, learn how to read a ticket. Also, where the is that 10-piece? Have you even dropped them yet? Absolutely ridiculous. I swear I don't get paid enough to deal with these kids. It feels like I have to do everything around here. I get it. He's only 8 years old, but it's like he doesn't even want to work. Taco Bell is so much better than this. The migrant workers were also being paid as little as 40 cents per hour of work. So, maybe I should have said that instead of, the whole McDonald's thing. This, is awkward. Anyways, working in the fields as a migrant worker showed Cesar from an early age the grueling labor conditions and exploitation faced by many agricultural workers. In 1952, Cesar began his pursuit for the rights of migrant workers when he joined the Community Service Organization, a Latino civil rights group. Over the next decade, he became a grassroots organizer for the CSO, working tirelessly to register new voters, combat racial and economic discrimination, and eventually rising to become the CSO's national director. Cesar very quickly established himself as an effective leader as he helped to unionize workers in California, as well as across the United States, while also organizing peaceful protests inspired by other civil rights advocates, such as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Mahatma Gandhi, and St. Francis of Assisi. These would often include organized strikes, boycotts, and hunger strikes. In 1955, at a fundraising dinner in Oakland, California, Cesar was introduced to a woman named Dolores Huerta, a woman also organizing with the CSO, thus beginning a very important partnership in the history of workers' rights. In case you were wondering, no, we won't really be talking much about Dolores in this video. Don't get me wrong, she's an equally interesting person, but we're talking about Cesar today. Don't worry, she's next. All you have to do is come back and watch the next video. Maybe like and subscribe, so you know when Dolores' video gets released. In 1962, Cesar officially resigned from the community service organization and, later that same year, used his entire life savings to help found the National Farm Workers Association alongside Dolores Huerta. By the way, I know it's really common, when you hear of people with close professional relationships, for us to automatically assume that they are in some form of romantic relationship. People like Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald, or Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio, where people spread rumors, but they're actually completely platonic. So, that being said, if you are familiar with the story of Cesar and Dolores, and you're thinking, oh, them's people be f***ing, you'd be wrong. They were platonic friends. Don't get your hopes up. Put your spicy civil rights activists fanfictions away. In fact, Cesar Chavez had a wife named Helen Fabella who he had 8 children with. Then, from those 8 children came 31 grandchildren! Yes, you heard right, 31 grandkids! Holy shit, you want to talk about fucking? Now that's a lot of fucking! Whatever. Cesar's sex life isn't what we're talking about. It's insane, but not what we're talking about. Moving on. 3 years after founding the NFWA, Cesar began organizing a strike against California grape growers, alongside the Agricultural Workers Organizing Committee, a Filipino-American labor group. This strike came to be known as the Delano Grape Strike. The strike lasted 5 years and expanded into a nationwide boycott of California grapes. The boycott attracted widespread support, thanks to a highly publicized campaign headed by Chavez, who led a 340-mile march from Delano to Sacramento in 1966 and undertook a well-known 25-day-long hunger strike in 1968. In 1970, the Delano grape strike came to an end as the farm workers reached a collective bargaining agreement with major grape growers that increased the workers' pay and gave them the right to unionize. Cesar's career continued through the 70s as the NFWA and the AWOC merged to form the United Farm Workers of America. With the UFWA, Cesar continued the nonviolent strikes and boycotts to push for better labor contracts for farm workers as well as legislation, such as the Agricultural Labor Relations Act of 1975, which gave all farm workers the right to unionize and negotiate for better wages and working conditions in the state of California. Cesar continued to show dedication to the cause, beginning his third hunger strike at the age of 61, which lasted for 36 days. That's right, 36 days. Can you imagine being 61 years old and going over a month where the only thing you eat is a glass of fucking water? Take that, Karen. Take those thoughts and prayers from Facebook and shove them up your ass. There are people doing real shit out here. And that's all we'll be covering in this video. Cesar Chavez was said to have died peacefully in his sleep at the age of 66. A year later, in order to honor the life of someone who dedicated their entire adult life to the mission of fighting for their fellow man, President Bill Clinton posthumously awarded Cesar the Presidential Medal of Freedom. There we go! If you want to see more videos like this, like and subscribe, or comment if you have ideas for other topics or subjects for me to discuss. Until next time, play that outro track. Wait a minute. She had 4 kids with Cesar's brother?
This changes everything.